This is Sarah. I'm back today with an amazing guest. So excited to be able to interview Mario. Mario, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and say your last name because I'm not sure how to say it, but thanks so much for coming onto our podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure connecting with you today. My name is Mario Simauchi. I'm an entrepreneur based off of Florida. I have a clear kayaking business named Get Up and Go Kayaking. And I also endeavor in the real estate sector where I own and operate Property Gurus, property management company focused in the midterm and Airbnb sector. We also take care of long-term rentals for our long-lasting investors. And I'm after a savage, outrageous goal of getting to 98 doors.
Awesome.
Specifically 98 doors.
Where'd that number come from? Specifically 98.
9 plus 8 equals 17. 1 plus 7 equals 8. I feel like if I can sell 98 doors, I can redo it again in a couple of years.
I love that. Of course you can.
Of course.
Yeah.
But it makes it more interesting and challenging to get to that number.
No doubt.
Real estate has been quite an adventure and amazing journey all around. So and it's nothing. I think we can do so much more in the space, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it today.
Yes, definitely. Let's dive right in. So who's Mario as far as, like you mentioned, you're from Florida. Just give us a little bit of a background on how you got into real estate and like being an entrepreneur.
I'm first generation college student or college graduate. I am a son of two immigrants to this country. I've seen adversity from a young age, excelled and used that adversity to overcome a lot of challenges in my journey. And a lot of things were not ever given to me. I've lost my dad when I was 13 and basically reunited with the family when I was 18. And out of the house after that, went off to college, came back home, and just been on my own doing or wanting to do better things, greater things. And family is a huge part of my motivation. I wouldn't be here without them. So I'm a family guy, family man with a heart to solve problems and help people along the way. And just have a heart of adventure, just want to share different experiences. World traveler, the world is my best classroom. I've learned so much from it. I've been to different places that I don't think I've ever dreamed of even visiting or being a part of. I'm just with so much gratitude. I'm so excited for what's yet to come.
Thank you. That was a great introduction. So out of college, how did you find yourself becoming a business owner and getting involved in real estate?
Didn't. I was taught we need to go work for other people and be a W-2 employee and just really make someone else's dream come true. Versus my childhood, I was taught that we were the ones to create the employment. But going to college, I forgot that. I went to a great school in Winter Park, Rollins College, and right off the bat, I started working with Hilton Grand Vacation. Didn't even last 90 days. I left that job to go work for the Golf Channel and then NBC Sports. It was way more exciting. So many more perks. I did my time with them. I learned a lot. I gained a lot of mentors who took me to bigger places in the real estate sector years later. Something I never really expected in my career. And it was a beautiful journey. So I worked as a financial, first pricing analyst, then financial analyst, then revenue manager, and so forth. Got my way to a really great position within the organization of Golf Channel, Golf Now, NBC Sports, the Comcast network. It just worked very well.
Yeah.
But it was a very corporate setting. And had a lot of responsibility. I remember exactly, at the time we had left, it was about $124 million budget. But when I started, it was a $98 million budget that we had to grow over 20% every year.
Wow.
My paycheck at the end of the year wasn't even 1% of that. So it just came to show that I couldn't figure out a comfort space or a comfort position to be in when you're making over 20 to 30 million dollars for another organization and you are not even compensating
Yeah.
a piece of that.
Yeah. That's a big eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after doing that for a year, I asked, I want more. Obviously they thought I was just a kid. I got that a lot. I said, then I need something else, and then they try to negotiate buying my master's, and I'm like, I don't need that, but sure, let's entertain. What do you got to offer? How is this going to work? Exchange. I'm a young person. I wanted to learn even more. Learning is my superpower, and I still haven't stopped. But at the end of the day, they negotiated about 16,000, spread it among 2 years, and I'm like, my
That's
tuition
nothing.
is 60,000 per year.
Yeah. Peanut.
So it just obviously didn't make sense. I was introduced to this franchise opportunity after a friend of ours, Justin Buzzy, who I met through the Golf Channel, through the Golf Now. We used to work together. He came up with this brilliant idea of clear kayaks, started manufacturing them,
Oh,
doing tours
wow.
himself. And part of my background, what I studied in school in college was global franchising. And I remember having a small conversation with him over a cabinet file thing, just telling him, don't you franchise this? You don't got to grow this by yourself. And he disappeared. A year later, comes back and basically says, you want to put your money where your mouth is? Like, this is the right opportunity. He had everything structured to buy into a franchise model. Gave me a binder, which is somewhere on my bookshelf to this day. And I don't think you can see, but I have like bookshelves over here somewhere. And I was like, I was at an all moment because I wanted to leave golf, the NBC Sports, and I wanted a new beginning. I was an entrepreneur. I had bought, uh, as part of my side hustle, I was doing embroidery on hats and apparel. Obviously, this is not me. I don't do this. This is my friend Patrick, with
What's his company name?
Gears Forever. Today, he runs one of my machines, something I never saw coming. I held to that machine for many years before someone actually put hours on those machines. And he basically told me like 7 times no, something like that. And one day he was curious enough. Patrick loves machines, and he's like, "Oh, all right, let me just look at it, see what it is." And today he has his own workshop and does amazing work.
That's
So
awesome.
it's full circle. Whenever you as an entrepreneur, the biggest eye opener for us is how tolerant we are for risk and how patient and abundant we have to be to really manage it, because the progression comes from that pain of figuring it out.
Yeah, true.
As I'm figuring what's coming out of my mouth right now.
Right. Right. So that's a great introduction. So you found yourself juggling lots of balls, lots of interests, side hustles to keep everything going.
Keeping itself
What?
motivated, because
Yeah.
as I felt like just as a W-2 employee, I wanted to do more. And
Yeah.
I wanted to solve a bigger problem than just solving the problems of an Excel sheet or a presentation that someone else is going to give on my behalf.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted more. I come from a background of I think I mentioned this. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had his own printing press company when I was growing up, and unfortunately in 2008 that all went away after he was deported. And
Oh gosh.
I had to. My mom couldn't figure out the business on her own. We helped because we grew up in that business. I knew how to do. To this date, I still know how to do a lot of like the printing press and
Mhm.
work that goes behind it. But it's tough for a woman that is working two jobs. It's having to manage someone else's business,
Yeah.
employees, kids,
And
and
just lost her husband.
just lost her husband. So
Yeah.
2008 for us was sucked. And
Yeah.
then one of the biggest part of all of that was that we lost our house. My mother couldn't, to be honest, and this is why I got into the business. She got cheated out.
Oh,
A lot of us know that in 2008, 2007, 2006, there was a lot of loans that were written up that were in favor of a lot of other lenders and people that were in that lending business.
yeah.
With the things that I know today, I would have never let that happen. Obviously, for a woman that only has till fourth grade of education,
Hmm.
was an immigrant to the country and didn't really know English as her first language, she definitely got cheated out of it and lost our family home.
Yeah.
Um, but there was great people in that part of our life where they supported us and they taught us a lot. So yeah, real estate for me has been a motivational sector from those pains, because I wouldn't want someone to. I hate seeing families suffering for not
Hmm.
having a shelter. We were lucky enough that a friend of our family had a house down the road that they had just emptied from
Wow.
from a previous tenant. Literally, the timing was like impeccable because days before their tenant had just left. They were
And
really close friends of my family. Till this day, they're close friends of our family, and they were like, "No, just move in. You don't think
wow.
about it. Don't ask anything. Just our
Wow.
your house." Eventually, we accommodated it. We between all of us, we assembled it. We house hacked it, and they were able to do so much more income than they were already renting it out for
Oh,
as
good.
a house.
Good.
So that for me, and actually even talking it with you, I've never actually shared this story with someone, but as I'm sharing it with you, it was like subconsciously lessons
Yeah.
that I've put into practice in my personal real estate portfolio, and is that house hack brings in a lot more possibilities of income than a regular single family home being rented out to just a family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Whew. That's heavy, Mario.
yeah,
Pretty
didn't mean
pretty
to.
pretty awesome though too. Restores, faith in humanity. Good people. Were there at the right time for you guys. And like you say, I can see now why it motivated you to get into real estate. Um, so what excites you when it comes to real estate? Is it the 98 doors? And can we ask where you're at right now with how many doors you have?
um, I'm currently at 8 doors. 98 doors is really just a number that I need to visualize in order to get there.
Hmm.
I'm at a young age. I've had great mentors, so I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me. But really, my motivation is being able to help people not feel the uncertainty of not having a roof.
So does that mean that you would like to niche or specialize in some sort of like tax credit, low income housing situation, or like what's your dream or vision of helping people?
Educating them through real estate. I
Okay.
think I I've done it. I've been involved in a good amount of the sector. One of my greatest mentors, and today he's created the pricing analytic, basically the pricing algorithms for a lot of the airlines, cruise
Oh wow.
industry, golf tee times, and his specific niche, low income housing, Section 8 apartment
Hmm.
building.
Hmm.
So in 2021, when Biden comes into office, he signs a specific executive order where he gives certain benefits to investors who are in the low income housing sector.
Hmm.
And we were basically headhunted to joined forces with a fund based off of New York and Washington, D.C. that oversaw the transition of 16,000 units within 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And I remember telling him that I don't need a job. I figured it out and I was doing very well. I don't want to go back to being a W-2 employee and
Right.
all this.
Right.
And he called me at the right time, right after Christmas of 2020, and just kept on telling me, it's like, this is not going to be a job. This is just a learning experience. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and and after those 6 months, you're out. Nobody needs to know that you're only here for 6 months. This is just you speak my language. You know how the way I operate, the way we do numbers, the way we
Mhm.
dissect and grow the business. You like real estate. You've been in real estate, and you speak my language. Most importantly, so let's just do this 6 months. I'm taking you. The salary was outrageous. It was like he sold it very well. Takes me to Skyrise in New York City, the whole bang, and I'm just like, I see the vision now. Sold it well. It was probably by far one of my worst 6 months in DC.
Oh,
The
oh no.
transition of the pandemic was not
Yeah.
easy in Washington, D.C., or
Yeah.
in many places, but D.C. was just definitely hard. And being stuck in an apartment coming from Florida where everything was the opposite of being stuck inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
An adventure guy who owns a kayaking company, going to an apartment for 6 months was not something I was
Yeah.
imagining of
You
doing.
had to physically be there to partner up with him, huh?
Essentially, at first, that was the vision. We were all going to go into a specific private office because it was a
Okay.
lot of work. We never made it to the office.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, he mentioned, is like, I wish I would have just kept you in Florida and you probably would have stayed with me for another year.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
he
That makes
could.
sense.
It might have been true, but what I appreciated and what I gained a lot more insight is what he ended up doing for me was getting me out of my business.
Okay.
So my biggest reward from that, and the main reason why it was so hectic for me, was not necessarily because of the work that I was doing for someone else, because I was learning and I was gaining a lot more from that experience.
Mhm.
But the struggle for me was, I am coming out of my current role as business owner, operator, figures it out type of person, to being the architect of that business, leaving someone involved and just overseeing it and working on the business instead of within the business.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So this is a very good thing.
It was a
Elevated
great thing.
you to 30,000 foot view instead of being in the trees.
Correct. Yes, I said yes, yes. But unconsciously, it's something that he didn't even think that he was doing. He was looking at it from his selfish perspective, which was, I need someone who speaks my language and we can get this done in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a win-win.
It was a win-win. We parted in great terms. We're friends to this day. I had lunch with him, I want to say in July. So no, or August. But the thing is, it's those are the relationships and those are the experiences that help us grow.
Yeah.
After that, I'm currently in a what we call a burster. So I bought it, I rehabbed it, rented it out, and then refinanced it out. Um,
Nice.
and I found this by mistake. I found this one buying flowers for my mom,
Oh,
and
wow.
I spent an hour picking up sunflowers over here in Canyon Farms.
Mhm.
And I was speaking with the owners. I was taking my sweet time. An hour passes. I had, by the way, already left town, but I turned around. I did a U-turn just to get sunflowers because my mom's favorite flowers are sunflowers, and
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her in 6 months. So
Mhm.
I was like, I need to at least show up to her house with something, not empty-handed. So I went out, spent some time getting sunflowers, and by that hour, or the previous owner of this property had just placed a for sale by owner sign on the corner.
Sorry about that.
It's
Keep
okay.
going.
And I was like, I missed the turn. I'm like, okay, if it's there on Thursdays for me. Market was hot. I knew it. So I turned around. I did another U-turn, and I come into the property. I was the youngest person in the room, and everybody's just grilling this older man. telling him, no, this property won't appraise. You're asking for too much. I looked at around. I was like, this is old. This is ugly.
Yeah,
And
true
and I
investor.
and I stood outside. I remember standing outside, and the river is like 4 houses down from here. I live near a freshwater spring river, and I remember that the sale of a lot of one of those properties on the river, just the lot, was 400,000,
There you
and
go.
it was 4 times, no, it was 4 times what just this land was assessed.
Wow.
So I was just like, something's off, and he doesn't know what he's selling. Um, Little did I know that as soon as after we closed, pillars went up of that house, and now that other house is appraised at 1.2, and it's only
Wow.
4 houses down. So it was. I'm sure he's not super happy now that he knows that all that happened, but he was also such a great mentor throughout this experience because he was also an investor. He had multiple homes, and the main reason why he wanted to sell that time was he had it vacant for too long, for over a year. His parents were going through something. He actually ended up losing both of his parents through our transaction, which super tough for me as a buyer and for him as a seller, because at the end of the day, we're people, we're humans, and I know this is business and so forth, but real estate is a people's business. So
Yeah, you
a
helped
lot of
him and he helped you.
correct, a lot of emotions were in the way. A lot of things came up. He had to be out. His family was in Pennsylvania, so there was a lot of things that were going on that we just made it a very long transaction, and we learned and experienced a lot together. We ended up becoming friends. Great guy overall, and but an experience and a half, because it all happened because of the flowers. Because I decided to go buy flowers.
That's
I remember
beautiful.
I remember even telling him, I was standing outside. I never asked him how much he wanted. I just spit out the words, "I'll buy it." I remember I vomited the words, "I'll buy it." And he's like, "Are you sure? You haven't even asked me the price. I just put it for sale like less than an hour ago." And I'm like, how much you want for it?" He tells me the price. We shook on it. And then I left. I got in my car and I'm like, how am I going to buy this house?
I was buying flowers and now I have a house too. Well,
We had,
that's how it works sometimes. You're in the right energy flow and
mm,
you were just going with it, right? So one thing led to another and opened up opportunities because you were
dude,
probably doing something good for your mom. And then this happened.
obviously didn't come empty handed. I brought a lot of information for them to listen and hear me out. They've always been the backbone to what I do, even though they probably don't understand a lot of the things that I do today.
Yeah.
They still have to hear it, and they still have to. That makes sense. They'll respond and agree
Y-
with a lot of things.
You're talking about when you bounce things off your parents?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Love
Yeah.
that.
I still don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I just like to keep. We're very family oriented, and just them listening to some of my thoughts goes a long way. Because
Of course.
at the end of the day, they're experienced in living, and they're more experienced in living and seeing the world than I have. So that helps at least.
That's beautiful. That just deep respect that you have for your parents. And even though you might be more savvy in certain modern things, you respect their wisdom for life,
Yeah.
like you say. I love
Yes.
that. That's beautiful.
Thanks.
So, where are you at today as far as what can what are you looking for? What can people do to help Mario with his next venture? Are you looking for private capital? Are you looking for more doors? I mean, connections. What would you
As
like to magnetize towards you?
Thank you. Thank you for the space too for this, right? I think it's important. It's never enough in this industry to have people who are involved in the same space. The reason I say that is because one of the biggest lessons I've come to realize, especially in the past year, is that capital is made up of capita. Capita is the meaning or translate to people.
Per capita.
Per capita. So that's how we measure a lot of our indexes, right? Of
Yeah, makes
progression
sense.
and success. So the reason I say that is to come back to your question is I'm always looking for real estate agents and investors who are passing along deals, who have deal flow and want to share it and grow with others. I'm looking for investors who need help with their portfolios and want to either disposition some of those assets or acquire new assets, or just disposition the whole portfolio to move on into a bigger asset. I've been involved in over 16,000 transactions, 1031 exchanges, and so forth. So the experience is there, but for me, the most beautiful part about this is the community that I get to join. I've been part of really big groups from besides the general ones like Bigger Pockets, or I shouldn't say general, the famous ones like Bigger Pockets, the Better Life Tribe with Brandon Turner. I'm also part of the host camp for Airbnb hosts and super hosts. I've done work with Pace Morby and his Sub 2 group community. I've also done work with his Gator community as well. Just the team that individual runs, it's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm a huge fan. I've learned a lot from him and continue to learn. He has a great story overall. One of my favorite books is actually probably in one of my backpacks because I keep looking at it and I keep studying it, and it's the one called Buying Real Estate Without Cash or something. Wealth Without Cash.
Wealth Without Cash. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've gotten into deals without money. I've gotten into deals definitely with other people's monies. I bought my business with 4 credit cards, and that was at that time I thought stupidest thing I was doing, but it worked out so well because it grew from buying one location into my portfolio now has 4 of the franchises.
Awesome.
So there's risk that has to be taken in this. The question, sorry, I got sidetracked, but
however you want to take it is fine.
The question was how do I magnify or what do I want to magnify? Community.
Yeah.
I want definitely to be able to connect with more individuals, real estate investors, anybody who's in the space of moving capital, who wants to grow their capital. Currently next week, I just put a property under contract this morning. I'll probably be doing a gap deal for $40,000. And then the other one was I'm doing a flip for a total cost of $197. So these are, there's people that say that there's no deals out there. There's still deals. There's deals to be found. We just gotta keep consistent. We gotta stay consistent. To this point, it's one of the hardest things to do. I wrote it down this morning. It's like 3 to 5 offers per week is usually what people recommend.
Wow.
The reality is nothing takes away from us to do 3 to 5 offers per day.
Right. It's all about your own limitations in your mind.
Yeah. So it's beautiful because that's from a real estate sector of like being just an agent, we make 5 calls a day. Or I'm sorry, 5 calls 5 calls per day.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually just less than 30 minutes.
Right.
Less than 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
If we were to do that for 2 hours,
yeah,
it would just
10x, 100x.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space for it, but to your point, the limitations that we create and being around a community of investors, communities that are not limiting themselves from growing helps. And I say helps because it's not easy to be this motivated just by myself. It gets tiring. It's gray outside. there's factors. We're human beings as well. We're not just a lot of people say you're always so excited, you're always full of energy and doing all these things, but reality is there's a commotion and disorder here that not everybody sees, and it's just
Mhm.
that's part of the upbringing of creating those processes, growing from those pains to make things better, and that comes from a community of resources. Like today, I was speaking with a coach. It comes from one of my. I still do education. I still invest in myself, even though I've done real estate courses, I've done licensing, I've done other events and conferences. I still invest in my education. I
Yeah.
just I just joined. This shirt is from Flip Secrets,
Oh, nice.
and it's a community just focus on flippers, on folks who are flipping in, in different ways. If you're a real estate investor, you can flip it. You can flip a contract. You can flip a house. You can flip many ways out of a real estate deal. So it's been just refreshing to see that even though there's a lot of real estate professionals that have been in the space for a long time,
Mhm.
they're still continuing to learn and connect with people. So this individual, he literally just happened to stumble across my Instagram. And
Mm.
what a coincidence! He was talking to me on the phone, and then he types my name into the Instagram, and he goes, "Dude, you have a really cool Instagram page." I'm like, "I do? Thank you. You're my Instagram? Like, what are you doing?" He's like, "No, I guess I just wanted to learn a little bit more about you, and I Instagrammed you, and you have a cool background or cool, like you've been in
Yeah.
the industry, you're practicing, you're putting into work what you're learning." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why we're talking on the phone right now, right?" And he's like, "No, but you should see how some people don't even, they take a little bit longer to click or
Yeah.
move." So he's like, I want to do this. And then boom, he gave me two numbers, gave one private lender and his hard money lender. And he's like, if you already told me the deals, I don't even need to know more. Just send it to them. They'll figure it out the rest.
Sweet.
Didn't see it from me. I
Sweet. Yeah.
But it was just from a conversation and being willing to connect with others.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, a program calls me from, I'm not gonna say their name. That's gonna be rude. But another real estate program that probably comes out on social media, calls me. And they're like, "Hey, we saw that you were interested. We want to share more." And throughout the vetting process, I flipped the script on the guy, and then I'm like, "Wait, so you want me to buy this to learn this, and you're not even involved in the space yourself?"
Yeah.
The guy didn't know what to say. Uh, So,
Yeah.
like, for that same reason, I tell you I can't move forward with this, or nor do I want to waste anybody's time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like we're on the same level.
Yeah.
And he's like, I completely respect that and understand that. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he should. I mean, if it was a really good program, he should have been involved in it himself as well, for sure.
Yeah. And we see that more and more. We'll see that there's a lot of investors coming into this space. It's fine. I think it's important to share the little that we know. I don't know anything, but the little that I do know, I do want to share, and I hope that I can help someone along the way with the little that I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one thing I can speak to. I do know Mario um, a little bit more on a personal level than this podcast, and he has a huge heart and definitely just wants to share knowledge and he shares his heart as well. And so he's always just trying to help people. And that's exactly what we need. Like you say, a community of people that have a high mindset, the right mindset to not think in terms of negativity and limitations, but rather of opportunity and opportunity cost for not going for what you want in life, as well as I love what you said about per capita, remembering the human element, which is what makes it
Yeah.
all worthwhile.
We can't do anything without just by ourselves. I'm a true believer. It takes a village to grow a city.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I've always wanted to build a city.
I did not expect that. That was awesome. Well, you know what? Maybe somebody watching this one day will be like, hey,
I want
let's do
a
that.
city too. I know I live in it. I've stayed here for a bit for the same reason. A lot of people are gonna hate me for saying that, but it is a charming town. It has a lot more potential than people know.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I love that. Um, so would you like to mention to people the REI group that you're starting?
Yes, my brilliant friend Sarah um, came up with a brilliant idea, and I just we steered the ship together towards this direction. And in our local town, here in Denellen, Florida, I'll say the town now.
Yeah, might as
Um,
well.
yeah, you'll be in a year or two, you'll be surprised. You're like, we should have never said that name of that city there. People are gonna be chasing our deals. You'll see. But anyways, this beautiful town of Denellen, Florida, um, has a charming 7 mile long freshwater river that passes throughout the town. And starting at the week, first Tuesday of October, we'll be hosting at our local coffee shop, Denellen Coffee. We're going to be hosting our first REI meeting. And it's going to be welcome to all real estate investors in our area, Marion County, Citrus Springs, Levi County. We want to open up the doors for you guys to come connect, meet new investors, meet investors in the area. If you guys are looking for capital, there's going to be investors as well who will lend on certain projects. They have their own terms. Make sure to ask the right questions to connect with the owners of those businesses as well. And really, we just want to share the little that we know and connect with others in this space and maybe share some of our deals together.
Yeah, yeah. Bring your deals and it'll be like a mastermind, like you say, REI group. Looking forward to that, definitely. And Mario, do you also do investments outside the state of Florida? Are you open to like nationwide?
Yes. So I've done syndication deals outside of Florida. In that space, I am open to doing some flips. I am looking currently for land in Chattanooga and Asheville, North Carolina. I am looking for distressed properties in the Outer Banks of North Carolina, all over the Outer Banks. If multiple units or multi-story, even better. In the Outer Banks space. And then Florida. I focus mostly on Central Florida. I will look at I would look at some things down south by Miami and the Boca area, just because I'm from there. It's home. So,
Yeah.
but it's definitely there's opportunity everywhere. I've seen. I'm a huge fan of masterminding and visiting deals that could be just strange to us.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. What's the best way to contact you if anybody happens to know of distressed properties in Chattanooga, as an example?
MarioSimauchi.com or just Instagram. At Mario Simauchi is my handle.
Okay.
I am pretty active on Instagram, and my name is my website, LinkedIn, Facebook,
That's great.
all the same.
Okay, wonderful. Was there anything in particular on your mind or heart that you wanted to talk about that I didn't happen to ask today?
I think we definitely covered a lot. If anything, I really want to, not to flip the script on you, but I want to hear, after hearing my story, how, um, how has your story been coming into this real estate sector now that, you're full on gear in the space?
No, I love that. That's a surprise there, a surprise twist ending. Being that we're at almost an hour, I think
Okay.
I will challenge you to interview me. The next one will be you can interview me, and then we'll go ahead and post it too, and
There'll be a
I'll
part
get this.
two.
Yeah, I'll get to sit in the hot seat. That sounds fun.
I like that. That would be great. That would be great. So we'll have a part two.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much, Mario. It's been
No worries.
wonderful. I really appreciate you letting everybody know about your story and how they can reach out and become involved, and we can form an amazing group of like-minded investors in our area.
Thank you, Sarah, for the opportunity, the space. And if I could just share one small thing,
For
or for anybody, whoever this message can help and or it can touch, just remember that the best art piece that we can create is ourselves. And the more that we continue to work on ourselves, the more we can portray that true beauty that we want the world to see. The work happens inside, the work happens within us. We have to really discipline ourselves to be able to receive what is out there to be received by us. We're the ones who create that path to our journey, to what we want to acquire, what we want to accomplish. Therefore, don't limit yourself. Don't start trying. Just keep on going until you accomplish what's yours, what's in your path, what's in your journey, and just do it.
I love that. I love that. Your closing statement made me think of another analogy. I don't know the specific culture where this is, but I recently heard that there's a certain culture that will actually like break a vase. They break it into a million pieces and then they put it back together, and that actually has far more value than one that was never broken. So, on a personal note, don't be afraid to reach out for things because you might be broken or chipped or cracked or have your irregularities. It actually makes you more valuable and more unique.
I like that a lot. I'm
Yeah.
curious now to know what culture that is.
I know I'm gonna look that up. I'm one of these people that I get the gist of things, but I'm bad at remembering the details. So,
I
anyways.
happens to me all the time.
All right. Well, thank you again. That was a beautiful, beautiful way to end this, and we'll be back.
Awesome.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
Sarah. Take care.
Thank you, Mario. Bye.